Yeah, it's definitely taken on, you know, a new face. For such a long time we had to suffer with Angel Hernandez in baseball games, and the guy was such a diva, and clearly he was, injecting himself into baseball games and having an effect on the outcome of games. And Major League Baseball ignored it for a very long time. He sued Major League Baseball, but in this particular case, a couple things. McNeil, as far as I know, is a really good ball player. He's a wonderful teammate. He's well liked. You know, um, he's not that guy, right? Like he's not a diva. He's not a guy that's going to show up the umpire. Um, you have to allow for baseball players. I mean, this is their livelihood to be frustrated and disagree with a call.
And they were losing, and they
And
were frustrated because
yeah,
they looked like
well, they were losing that game 6-0 before DeGrom even took them out. So
right.
I imagine his frustration was probably already at a peak level, if not,
I
you know.
agree.
And it's funny because on plays that are reviewable, you never see anybody get ejected from a game arguing they were safe or out. It's always the home plate umpire and balls and strikes. Now I know they changed the rule. You're not allowed to argue balls and strikes. They're just asking for, trouble, and they're giving umpires a reason to inject themselves into the game where they just shouldn't have that ability. If it becomes abusive, obviously, if you bump a touch or spit on an umpire, that's unacceptable. When I was growing up, I had some really smart, awesome baseball coaches, and I was fortunate to play for a few guys that I really love. Charlie Lightsey was my varsity baseball coach. He was a teacher in the school system for many years. I've known him since I'm 5 years old. He taught us how to argue balls and strikes without saying a word. If you thought the ball was outside, just draw a line in the dirt and get back in the box. And that'll let the umpire know that you disagreed with the call and you're just adjusting your strike zone. Or if it's inside, draw a line in the dirt, step back off the plate, get back in the box. I saw a baseball player do that a few years back in the minors, and the guy got ejected. And I thought to myself, if you can't even do it without saying a word and you're going to get ejected, the umpire lost his mind. He took off his mask. You're not drawing a line. Not in my game. You get out of here. Draw a line. Get the hell out of here. And I just thought to myself, what recourse do you have to contest something that you think is wrong? Because it's a mental game, too. You're going to let the umpire know, I'm not happy with that call. You better smarten up. And even managers can't, their hands are tied. As soon as you start arguing, you're out. A few years back with Brett Gardner, he got called out. He went back to the dugout and he was pounding the bat into the roof of the dugout, and they threw him out. And I thought to myself, this is really unfair. I mean, there's no, you as an umpire, you have to be, you can't take sides. You're taking sides. You need to be objective and ignore that stuff. You have to be above it. I thought that I think it was a Snickers commercial where the guy was watching TV and his wife was screaming at him, and then first he's an umpire, and then he's taking and yelling and screaming from the managers, and he's just sitting there, and then all of a sudden it's still him, but his wife is screaming in his ear, and he's just ignoring her. I thought that was I thought that was hysterical, but that's how umpires should be. Just ignore it.
Walk
Unless it
away,
gets physical
turn
or
around and walk
personal,
away.
turn around, walk away. Right. If the verbiage or the language is abusive and it's too much, all right, then maybe the guy needs to get thrown out so it doesn't happen again. So it's in his mind, but throwing the bat, slamming the helmet out of frustration, you got to let that go. You can't jump on that.